What is good? What is good? What is good? Keno Green, what's good? Christina, YW24S, how we doing, everyone? Christina, thank you for inviting followers. What up, what it do? Cindy Jade, Sarah, how you doing? Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for joining. So we're going to smoke some weed and talk about the future of cannabis. Keno, thank you for inviting followers. I always really do appreciate it. Thank you so much, you guys. Does anyone ever come in? Sarah, thank you as always for inviting. Does anyone ever... Three followers? I'm okay with that. You're inviting 3 people. That's all right. I appreciate it nonetheless. Volton, thank you for sharing on Twitter. That really means a lot. I appreciate everyone tapping the screen and sharing on different social networks. That means a lot to me. It really does. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about mass grows and the future of cannabis. Where does everyone... That's funny. I won't tell, hey, what you do, Sarah, in your private time is, hey, that is, I'm cool with it. Whatever you do is whatever you do. Sajid, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Blitzen, what's up, man? So someone doesn't have to watch the winner from last night. I gave away a t-shirt last night. If you entered, I appreciate it. If you didn't enter, I'm sure I'll be doing up. What's clubbing, bro? Not much. Greaser Girl, thank you for joining. Hey. How we doing? So last night's winner was JP323. JP tapped the screen 1,000 times and ended up winning the lucky number for the choice of winning last night. I don't want to get into this bowl right here, so I'm going to smash this real quick. I want to say cheers to everyone out there. Greaser, thank you for inviting followers. Cheers. Thank you for everyone for joining. Thank you for tapping the screen. Thank you so much for sharing. I've got a couple people in here that are here all the time that I want to recognize. Blitzen, Sarah, Keno, you've been in here a few times. I apologize if I'm missing anyone. I have a lot of people that, Greaser Girl, you've been in here a few times. Christina, I don't know if you're still here, but I always appreciate you guys joining me and talking cannabis today. I'm always talking Cannabis 101. I've got... I don't work at a dispensary, but I do work at a mass grow. Great to see, as always, for sure. I've started a company up in Washington that was an outdoor grow operation that was over 5,000 square feet up there. We had 1,000 plants. And ultimately, as big as that sounds, the mass operation that I'm working here, thank you very much, Sarah. I definitely love to share my knowledge. I feel like I've got quite a bit of it in here, so nice. Yeah, trimming's a lot of fun. Any day that I get to put my hands on the plant, any day that I'm around cannabis is a good day. Lauren, thank you for joining. Rohan, Mac, what up? I always want to say hi to people when they join the room, and then I end up massacring people's names, so I apologize if I've massacred anyone's names. Volton, thank you for inviting followers. Hey, from Nashville. What's good, Nashville? I'm in Las Vegas. So I was just saying, well, thank you very much. I definitely try to keep it positive vibes for sure. So, yeah, the mass operation that I'm working here in Las Vegas is it's a $10 million operation. It is state-of-the-art in every sense of the word. It's a hydroponics operation. I actually found out, so I have hay fever, right? And I've known that forever. When I was young, thank you for sharing as always. Detroit, I know you guys have legalized dispensaries there in Detroit City or county there, something like that. I know that's right. We need to know that this plant is ours and we should be able to use it no matter what. I don't like the states that eliminate home grows. I mean, we allow people to brew beer at home. I don't know why we wouldn't allow people to enlightened or entitled. I like them both. Well, if it's entitled to the plant. That A1 flowers, yes, we are. It's this operation is really state of the art. I mean, it really is. It's amazing. It's a full hydroponic operation. I'll be honest, not my favorite way of growing. However, you can grow absolute chronic from hydroponics. You can absolutely grow fantastic weed with hydroponics, but my personal preference is living soil. I think that it definitely is a better way to grow. But Murat M80, what's going on? How we doing? So yeah, the operation there, I found out I have hay fever, and so I put up a picture today on Instagram of me with my respirator on. Now I walk around looking like Bane at the operation that I work at, for sure. So I've got kind of this, I've really made cannabis my life. Hepler Sarah, what's up? I'm just going to call you Sarah. Herb Culture 420, I like that name. What's going on? Yeah, soil grown, but see, here's the thing. Hydroponic and single-use soil cocoa mix, not a whole lot different. It's really where you really get a difference is, thank you very much for joining me, for sure. I think the big difference is when you do living soil, right? So soil that you don't throw away. These guys don't pay me to say this. Yeah, you got to have these guys have a state-of-the-art filtration system. So definitely, I actually wrote an article. It's on BigBearCannabis.com. If you go on the right side, there's like a little sidebar there that has popular articles, and it's how to get a job in the cannabis industry, and it's all about how to get a job in the cannabis industry. But let's tackle that real quick. So basically, the biggest thing with getting a job in cannabis is stay persistent. I mean, it's kind of like finding a job in really any industry right now, because everyone's on a level playing field. Very, very few people have experience in legal cannabis, right? So when people think, well, I've never worked with legal cannabis, most people haven't. Almost every operation that's new is going to have a majority of, thank you very much. Is it a 3M? No, I forget the brand, but it's not 3M. I need to I think I'm going to buy one for myself that's more fit to my face. But so it's kind of like getting a job in really any industry, right? You want to know your knowledge, know what you know as best as you can, right? So do the research, read the articles, listen to podcasts. If you want to know about terpenes and what they do, look up that information. I talk a lot about terpenes and cannabinoids. I think it's very important to understand the difference between what THC does versus what CBD does. And I'm a big guy for sure. I was doing a lot of breaking down stuff today, so my back, I'm not gonna lie, this bowl is pretty nice because I was a little sore. I'm not gonna lie, my low back going down, up and down all day. It was pretty sore today, but yeah, good to get out there and start doing. It's just a different change of pace. So this is one thing I'll say real quick. The outdoor growing is the future of cannabis, right? The indoor growing you can do on a small level, but it's expensive. It's expensive, and I apologize for why I jump a lot here. So if you're setting up a hydroponic, like a full hydroponic, here's the deal. There's a system that's coming out from Leaf. They have a cabinet. It's supposed to be the size of a refrigerator, like a small refrigerator, and it's supposed to look like a nice piece of furniture. It's supposed to sit inconspicuously in your living room, like you can just put it in your living room and it will not look out of place. And essentially it's going to be a full hydroponic system. The best place to do research for hydroponics, I would go if you're in an area where you have hydroponic store options. What state do you live in? There's good and bad about growing indoors and outdoors. The good thing about outdoors is you cannot replicate the sun. You just can't. You cannot replicate the sun with artificial light. It just can't be done. And so your plant growing outdoors is going to grow in a different fashion. However, with an indoor grow, you have much more control, obviously. You're not battling the wind and all that. So it depends on what level of outdoor. Silly Monkey, what's up? How you doing? So it depends on the amount of coverage that you have for your plants when you're outdoors. Yes, absolutely. We were looking at Eastern Washington when we were trying to get licensed up in Washington, and we ended up just sticking on the western side of the state because we were right there. It was kind of our backyard, but that was an outdoor operation. And growing on the west side of Washington State, outdoors is they were covered plants, but we didn't have them in hoop houses, or really ultimately a greenhouse is what you need. And you can actually get greenhouses now to the point where it's almost an indoor operation. And really what's going to happen long term is, the people that are paying for indoor lighting, you are not going to be able to keep up with the price of outdoor marijuana. And the future of growing cannabis is going to be in Dutch-style hothouses, meaning you have the ability to light dep, but you're using the rays of the sun year-round. So you can have a year-round grow operation in a greenhouse. And that's going to be the future of cannabis. I mean, you cannot keep up with the price that you can grow in a greenhouse versus the price that you can grow indoors. I mean, you just, even if you're doing it as efficient as possible, growing with, I don't know about growing with LEDs, but if you're growing with HPS, your cost per gram is just too high. And and that's why you see $120, $130 ounces in Washington through legal dispensaries, not black market. I'm talking you can go into a store and buy $120 to $130 an ounce. Now, granted, that's outdoor, right? And so that's, you can grow outdoor if you have good genetics. Really, ultimately, the bottom line is genetics. Genetics are going to be, you cannot put crappy genetics in a perfect environment with the best grower and grow good weed, right? If you have shitty genetics, you have shitty genetics. Sorry for you. You have to have good genetics. That's the name of the game right now. So that's funny. I had a stem in my shirt that was scratching my wrist. So if you have good genetics, you can grow quality pot outdoors, but again, it depends on your level of control. If you're growing indoors, you have supreme control of your environment. And so you can optimize everything. But again, if you have the money for it, if a company has the money to put it out, you can, right, and just get completely distracted, because I never do that, right? So, yes, and this all started with me talking about getting a job in cannabis, and really ultimately, you're on a level playing field with getting a job in cannabis right now. Most people do not have any type of knowledge with cannabis. And so if you're doing just the little things, if you're reading books, if you're reading articles, if you're listening to podcasts, then you're doing more than other people, right? If you really want to go in, I would really go in, try to understand a basic understanding of cannabinoids and terpenes. Book suggestions, I do have a website. It's BigBearCannabis.com. I would recommend a couple podcasts. Marijuana Today, what is it? MJ Today. Those guys have a really great podcast. And then the Cannabis Insider, Canna Insider, I should say. Canna Insider, the one by, I forget the guy's name that does them. Jen, what's going on? Jen Sweeney, thanks for joining. But yeah, that's a lot of really good information on both those podcasts. They talk a lot of the Cannabis actually as well. The Denver podcast, that's a little bit more entertaining. The other two are more like industry news type of podcasts. Yes, I'm interested to see what DC did with the laws there. So hopefully we'll see dispensaries there. Obviously, with Congress sitting in your backyard, they don't want to play very nice and have actually tried to move. I know that they were trying to move it. It got shot down, but the Congress was trying to pass laws that would state that the District of Columbia could not have legal marijuana. And basically we're trying to do away with the whole decriminalization and all that. That's pretty cool, yeah. I mean, I believe in grow your own. I think that that's great. I mean, obviously here's the deal. So people grow tomatoes at their house, right? People brew beer at their house. That doesn't mean that they don't ever go to the store and buy beer or that they don't go to the store and buy tomatoes, right? So to have a state say that you can't grow in your own home is pretty ridiculous to me. I think that putting a plant limit on that is fine as long as the plant limit makes sense and you understand. The biggest problem is you've got people making decisions for the cannabis industry that have no fucking clue about cannabis. And so they're making all these laws and things that don't make sense. And so, of course, you got to start somewhere. And I get that, the state of Washington had a bit of a rough time, but ultimately, got things rolled out. But it's kind of a work in progress, and government moves incredibly slow. Edibles, really? That's interesting. That's really interesting, huh? So what is it like a ticket? What if you get caught with people? I've heard people are just slinging on the streets. I mean, I've heard it's kind of the Wild West, and because it's really not a penalty anymore, can you sell it on the street? Or there's no sales, right? Like you can give it from one person to another. I think that's how it works anyhow. But the laws, just because this is kind of how you used to go to jail for that shit. Oh, wow. So concentrates and edibles, you were getting your doors shut down, huh? So if I just give you this cannabis and you just give me $40, then we're good to go. That's really interesting. But I mean, again, I think that government is kind of built to go slowly. I mean, government just doesn't move quick on anything. And so now, because you're seeing the end of prohibition, you're really seeing the end of prohibition. Folks, if you guys have a little bit of money to throw away, if you have $200 if you lost it, it wouldn't mean anything. You know what I mean? I would look at doing a little bit of research and putting 250, 300, 550, $50, whatever you have, that if you lost it, it wouldn't be a big deal. And put that money into stocks, because here's what's going to happen. There are going to be some really big winners in this game. Marijuana is going to go legal here within the next few years, and you're looking at donating, the donation system, how gray area markets, but you're going to see a number of states, including Nevada and California, legalize this year. That is going to add so much massive amounts of money coming into our economy through these companies that there are going to be some really big winners. If there's some over-the-counter stocks that you can invest in now, I would be very, very big on cannabis in 2016. And I think you're going to see federal legalization. There's 41 states now. 41 states. I say this all the time. That have some form of pro-marijuana laws on the books. So, wow, that's cool. So that's basically decriminalization. Yeah, I mean, you please, if you have, and here's the thing, Kino, it is super risky. I'm not going to be dishonest with any one of you. It is super risky to put your money in marijuana stocks right now, no doubt. So I'm saying do your research. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, myself. I've looked at TerraTech, and I think that this is going to be a very big company later on. Who knows what they'll do? Who knows if they can put it together? But they won 8 licenses here in Nevada. They assumed Bloom dispensaries. They're doing everything under the Bloom dispensary brand. And Bloom is big, big, big in California. One of the top 3 grossing dispensaries, if I'm not mistaken, in the state of California. So they're bringing that brand here to Nevada. They're going to be opening their dispensary, their first dispensary in on 420, which I think is pretty fun. And so, I think there's so much opportunity in cannabis right now, and I would be really, really big on. You're going to see the first Jim Beams, the first big brands developing now. And if you can invest in one of those brands, I think, if I had $500, I would look at maybe five different companies that I really thought were great opportunities. I think that Mass Roots I think is a little more risky because it is very niche, but I think that ultimately, they're not recreating the wheel. Again, this is just what I believe. I'm not a financial advisor. I have to say that, in today's day and age, you just got to be safe. But I've looked at Mass Roots, MSRT, TRTC is TerraTech is the group that I was talking about before. I think that Mass Roots could really be, they're the number one marijuana app for sure. They're trying to get to 1 million users this year. So, here's the deal. I hope that we keep it cottage industry. I really do. I really hope that that states do and enact certain things so that the industry stays somewhat cottage, and even to keep it no out of state transfers, right? So thank you, Blitzen. Have a great night, brother. As always, thank you for joining me. Oh, yes. Okay. So anyhow, always getting lost in talking cannabis. Hey, if anyone wants to win this piece of glass, make sure you go to BigBearCannabis.com/QOTM. That's question of the month. The question for March is, what is your favorite strain? Pretty simple. Hopefully you know what your favorite strain is. You go on there and comment. There's just a few. There's only like 15 people that have entered. So really great chance to win this pretty sweet little bubble here. Great colors. This is going to be an awesome piece for someone. So, if you want to win that, OG Kush, make sure to go comment on the blog there, BigBearCannabis.com, and you can win that. I'm giving away an iTunes gift card and a T-shirt. So hope everyone enjoys the podcast, the Periscope, and OG Fashu 100. OG for Shoe 100. OG for Show. That's funny. Yeah, OGs, all the OGs are, pretty tasty for sure. But thank you as always for joining me. I am at Big Bear Cannabis, and I'll talk to everyone later. Have a great day, guys.